Hi everyone! So today I want to do a fall fragrances video, and this is a really exciting video for me because it's in collaboration with Green Beauty Trish, who is selecting her own picks for autumnal fall fragrances. I was sort of toying with the idea of doing a fall fragrances video, and then Trish reached out and asked if I wanted to collaborate, so it was sort of like, well, yeah, now I have to. It's like it's the perfect timing. I watched Trish's video and she's got some incredible picks from some really interesting niche houses, so I have to go check those out. And she mentioned, well, I don't want to spoil it, you'll just have to go watch it. So Trish actually started out doing fragrance reviews. She had a fragrance blog and has slowly made her way into the world of green beauty. What I liked about the fragrances that Trish chose, there was a variety. So there were floral fragrances that have like tropical qualities, and then some warmer, spicier, more woody fragrances. So a nice variety, and just sort of, you can tell that she has a love for fragrance, and that she just wears whatever makes her heart happy. And I think that's, for me, that's how I like to approach fragrance as well. Just sort of wearing what I love and smelling what makes me feel good. So I guess let's start with Sigil Amorphati. So if you like that really beautiful, creamy, dry, slightly sweet smell of Palo Santo wood, I think you'll really like this. It's interesting, I get this sort of vintage furniture quality as this wears because the myrrh comes in and it has this sort of like honey, resinous kind of quality that paired with the Palo Santo, and then I think there's oud in here as well. It just sort of gives the effect of like aged wooden furniture. Like you sort of get that slightly dusty, slightly warm scent that sort of comes with aged wood. And to be honest, you don't really get it, for me at least, until the dry down, so sort of the second half of wearing this. The first half is that beautiful, just pure Palo Santo wood. I mean, it's one of my favorite wood fragrances is Palo Santo, and the fact that this captures it so beautifully, and it's in such a beautiful bottle with the magnetic, I love it. Sigil is a luxe, handmade, small batch fragrance company that uses natural materials, CO2 extracts, tinctures, essential oils. So it's not a brand that really goes on sale, but we are going to be doing a limited time code for 15% off. So the code is TophCam15, and that'll be 15% off of any Sigil item, excluding limited editions though. Next is Abbott Big Sky, and this is one of my newer fragrances. And to be honest, this isn't normally the kind of fragrance I would go for, but because it's so well done for what it is, I have to respect it. And I've found that it sort of has this fragrance enhancer quality that I love. The notes on this are, I think, spicy, marine, cypress, and vetiver. I brought out the little exploration set so I can read the description, but it's cool and crisp with a hint of spice, inspired by mountains, glaciers, and ranch lands of Montana, mountain air, grass, and open campfire. To me, what I get is cold air with like a slightly coniferous tree kind of running through there. I'm in North Houston, sort of, if you know Houston, sort of closer to like the Kingwood area, so there's lots of trees, and I grew up around pine trees. There's a ton of pine trees now, and I notice when the air gets cold, or at least cooler for Houston, right? The pine needles sort of release this slightly green, crisp quality into the air that, to me, I notice, especially when the air is cold, and this captures that. It captures that feeling of cold air with like a tinge of, again, a coniferous tree, pine, cypress, that just lends this forest-like quality, but it really is open air, cold air smelling. There's a slight watery quality. It doesn't go into like the fragrance plug-in territory where it smells like, you know, cool waters or whatever, but there is like a slight watery quality, which is normally not my cup of tea, but to me it's sort of more situational. It's the cold air, it's the water, it's the tree needles kind of all together. That's why I love it so much. I mentioned that I like wearing this as a fragrance enhancer, so I'll take something like Sigil Amorphati, for example, which has sort of that dry woodiness, and pair it with sort of the cold air and the running water and sort of create this little forest scape almost. It's been a way to kind of experience some of my favorite scents in a new way, which I'm always open to doing. And I would say overall the collection leans slightly more masculine. I mean, they're all gender neutral. You know, if you appreciate fragrances with a slightly more masculine edge, you'll definitely appreciate these. And as a side note, if I'm not mistaken, was it the Cape? It reminds me a little bit of Chanel, Bleu de Chanel, which I love. It's the Cape. It has that ginger and mint. It doesn't have the grapefruit though, the way Chanel, Bleu de Chanel has. So if you've found that to be a little bitter or a little too citrus for you, you might like the Cape. It's that aromatic, zesty, crisp ginger mint. The timing's also great because this week I'm doing a giveaway with Abbott to give away one of their exploration sets and a full-size fragrance of the winner's choice, whichever sample they like the most. The giveaway information will be linked below, but you can always follow me on Instagram if you kind of want to be in the loop on upcoming giveaways. Next, let's move into one of my longest standing favorites. I would say this is my signature scent. This is Tom Ford Black Orchid, and this is the same 1 ounce bottle I've had since 2013. If you know this fragrance, you know you don't really need to spray very much of it to get the full impact. It's so good. To sort of feel this like comfortable confidence, that's what this does for me. When I think of an orchid and I think of the scent and the way the petals feel, there's like a coolness and almost like a slight waxiness, almost like cucumber in a way, where it's crisp and it's chilly. And that's the quality of the orchid that I get, is I get this smoothness. But then I also get this grounded, damp earth, almost mushroom quality from, I believe it's black truffle. Rooty and damp earthy truffle with crisp and waxy orchid petals that reads almost like cucumber. That's my notes. Gardenia and tuberose give heady volume, while Mexican chocolate adds rich bitterness. I feel like I get support from like the white florals, the sort of waxy, oily tuberose, and then that really slightly sweet gardenia with like I always get like a bit of a bubblegum quality from gardenia. And they're supporting characters to the orchid. All of the notes play together. You know, it doesn't feel like any one accord or one note is playing over the other. For me, the orchid and the chocolatey earthiness are pretty consistent and pretty linear. The orchid is at the heart of this fragrance for me, and it's what I smell from start to finish. I just think it's such a well done fragrance, and it's mysterious, but it's also confident because it does have that slightly boozy quality. There's a delicate boozy quality. It just makes me feel great. It really does make me feel powerful. Next, let's move on to a classic. This is a Guerlain Vetiver, and this is the Eau de Toilette. I checked my batch code, and my bottle was made in 2017, so it's definitely a newer version of the formula. I've never smelled a vintage version of this, but for me, this is sort of a transitional season fragrance, like spring into summer, and then summer into fall. I don't tend to wear this as much during the winter, simply because to me, there's like a bit of a fizzy effervescence that I like to experience when it's not too hot, not too cold, but crisp in the air. I believe there's bergamot and lemon in the top, but you can definitely pick up on the greenness of it. And it supports the vetiver. And in a very interesting way, I've come to really love vetiver as a fragrance note. And the vetiver in here is very cool and crisp and almost has like a morning dew on it. I definitely sort of get this picture of like Sunday driving, a bit of an oak moss quality in the base, but it's an oak moss with a leathery component. This sort of taut quality, it doesn't feel like an aged tan leather. It feels like very much like a brand new leather jacket. It's not like vetiver wrapped in leather. It's sort of like a leather base with the vetiver on top. But I love this. This just is like the perfect kind of thing to wear when it's a little bit misty in the morning or a little bit foggy. You can wear whatever you want at any time, but you know, sometimes you just like to kind of evoke the season with your fragrance, right? Okay, next let's move into a fragrance that arrived yesterday that I had finished multiple samples of and was just like watering at the mouth to get a full-size bottle because I love this. This is Avant-Garden Lab Vetiverus, another vetiver fragrance, although the vetiver here is sort of takes a back seat to this narcotic osmanthus. And I am admittedly a recent osmanthus fanatic. This is sort of just like what I envision to be the perfect osmanthus fragrance, because you get that apricot quality, you get that milkiness, and you get that leather all at once. Okay, sorry, I had to change my camera battery, so I hope the setup isn't too different. Yes, so I guess a way to describe it is, you know, the fruit leather that's like a fruit snack, but like fruit leather, the texture of that and the flavor of that sort of matches the scent of osmanthus, if that makes sense. You get this sort of chewiness, leathery smoothness, but then you get almost like a milkiness, like a sour milk kind of quality with the apricot. So I will say the vetiver here is almost a lemony quality to it, whereas, you know, the Guerlain Vetiver that I just mentioned has more of a green coolness. Like I said, like the bergamot, that oak moss, it's definitely more of a spicy green, whereas this is like lactonic osmanthus with that beautiful crisp vetiver. Just one more fragrance to mention and then we'll do candles. And this is, if you haven't smelled this one, this is worth a sniff. This is Stash from Sarah Jessica Parker. And this is, you get this like cinnamony Masoya wood, which is a little bit dry. There's like a touch of cedar here as well, but I mostly get like a spicy cinnamon wood quality. But then when you actually spray it on the skin, there's this interesting aromatic sage that starts to come through, and this very beautiful, like creamy, nutty pistachio. I don't know if anyone smelled the Prada Infusion de Riz, the old version from '07. That's the version that I have, and I absolutely love it. There's this very beautiful soapiness that when you first spray it, it's a little bit waxy, a little bit aldehydic, but definitely like a soapy freshness. And I get a little bit of that crisp, slightly minty sage and the creamy, like nutty pistachio, definitely green though, work together and kind of create this interesting soapiness. That with the woody base, that Masoya wood, the cedar, like a sexy big red gum. That's sort of how I can describe it. Like, I mean, I get cinnamon. There's no way I don't get cinnamon. I don't want to say that this is good for being a celebrity fragrance. This is just a good fragrance no matter how you cut it. I think a lot of people have mentioned, but I have to add my voice to the chorus. If a niche fragrance house repackaged this in their, like, I don't know, signature bottle and sold it, there's no way people wouldn't go head over heels for it. So just take that for what you will. I mean, I think the bottle, the packaging, the entire experience is so beautifully done, but I think some people may have a hard time mentally getting over that it's, you know, a celebrity fragrance, but I think it's just a great fragrance for someone who obviously loves perfume. You know what I mean? I have two candles I want to mention, and they are both from Boy Smells. I'm a bit of a Boy Smells fanatic. I think the thing I like the most about their candles is that all of their fragrances are very smooth. I will say after you burn the candle 1 or 2 times, the fragrance develops a little bit more and you get more of like a true picture of what the scent is like. And when the candles are unlit, when they're just cold like this, I feel like they have pretty good throw on their own. So like I always keep a Boy Smells candle on my nightstand because I get some of that scent even without burning it, which I love. And this one came out with their Hyper Nature collection, which is their fall and winter collection for this year, and this is the one that I loved on first whiff. So the notes on this are pimento berry, coconut water, jasmine, fig leaves, macadamia nut, ambrox, and salted musks. And I definitely get the macadamia. Oh, allspice, that's what pimento is. That makes perfect sense. That's what it is. It sort of has that holiday baking quality where you get all those beautiful spices together. I get some of the salted musks as well. It's definitely more of a spicy green. And it's, again, that creaminess, that creamy, nutty macadamia is just giving this smoothness that I really like. I'm excited to keep burning this one. And then the other one I want to mention is Cedar Stack. And I have the full size from the Pride collection, but I haven't burned it yet. I'm going to save it for when I get my own apartment. I'm going to smell the votive that I've burned because I think that, as I mentioned, the scent is a little bit truer, more developed. And this is it's a very soft, smooth cedar, almost like a suede-like cedar. There is, they say, juniper berry. I don't get too much purple. You know, juniper has that sort of deep purple, slightly smoky bitterness to it. It's definitely giving the wood a bit of life. You know, it takes some of the dryness down of the wood. I think this is the kind of thing that would smell great all year round, but it's to me it's sort of warm and cozy without being charred or smoky or incensey or bitter. And this is one of those that I think even more so than this, and this already has great throw. I mean, this votive size can fill, you know, pretty much the entire house within a few minutes. So, and that's why one of the reasons I love the Boy Smells candles is, you know, it doesn't take very long to get that scent to really fill your house up, which we love. So I think that's it for my fall fragrances. Again, I hope you go check out Trish's video, subscribe to her, follow her on Instagram. I'm very excited to be able to do this collaboration with her, and I need to go smell some of the fragrances she chose because I'm very intrigued. And until my next video, I'll talk to you very soon. Bye.